September 18th, right around the same time of my new book called Addicted to Outrage, which is coming out this fall as well. Welcome, Mr. Bill O'Reilly. How are you, sir?
Where have you been, Beck?
Where have I been? Where have you been? You are gone.
I'm always available. I was in Mexico for a little while.
Uh-huh.
But I've been looking for you and all over North Texas. Where you been?
Yeah. Well, I've been out of North Texas. It's too hot here now.
Yes. I worked in Dallas for 2 years. That is a hot place.
It's like what is it? 106 today. It's just nuts here. Bill, let's start with the media this week. I want to get your thoughts on Roseanne Barr, Samantha Bee, and Joy Reid, because we have kind of come to the conclusion that while the company has a right to fire people, and perhaps they should, me as a citizen, I don't want anybody to lose their job for something they've said. Roseanne was outrageous, awful. I think she's a Marxist, crazy person who this is just the beginning of what she's ever said. As a CEO, I would have fired her for the good of the company. However, I'm not pleased with that because she said it herself on Twitter. With Samantha Bee, all the writers, all the producers, they all knew what she was going to say. It is what she was hired to do. It was over the line, but I don't want to see her fired. And then you have Joy Reid. And Joy Reid, her big sin is she's not who she claims she is. And she's lying to the audience. She's the only one that I can clearly, easily say, yeah, I would fire her.
All right. So when you say we, is that you and Stu, or are there more people involved?
Yes, and the mouse in my pocket.
Okay, good. Let's take Roseanne Barr first. So ABC knows that she's, let's say, unstable. All right.
Let's be more clinical. She's crazy.
Okay.
All right.
So they hire her back because they have nothing. The ABC broadcast network has nothing to put on in prime time, and she comes back with a bunch of fairly shrewd, what they call showrunners, that put these sitcoms together. And I say, you know what? There are millions of people that like Donald Trump, and they don't have anything on television to watch, so we'll give them a character, Roseanne, who likes Donald Trump. But we'll buffet it with three characters that don't like him, and then we'll put in a cross-dressing kid, and we'll put on a legal immigrant in there, and, whoever else is on the block. So the show becomes a smash success just because of the audience that likes Trump. They come in and they watch it. And then Roseanne gets smashed, all right, over the Memorial Day weekend, no doubt in my mind. And she gets hammered. And she's got the machine in her hand, and she says this terrible thing about Valerie Jarrett. Now, if you want to know about Valerie Jarrett, I know her fairly well, so I'll be happy to answer questions about her. But anyway, then ABC says, we're shocked, just like the guy in Casablanca, that there's gambling going on here.
Right.
And we have to cancel the show. Now, they did that because if they didn't cancel the show, then the same people who boycotted you and me and Hannity and Laura Ingraham would have been standing in front of Disney World and Disneyland with signs saying Disney is racist and Mickey Mouse is a fascist and all of that. That's exactly why she lost her show, because Disney lost millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, by canceling the show. So it was an economic decision. It was the same decision that was made about me when I left Fox News.
So if you're Ben Sherwood, I think the answer for Bob Iger is easy. Nothing hurts the mouse, period.
Right.
Nothing trumps the mouse.
Can't afford to have 13 million African Americans not go to Disney World.
So if you're Ben Sherwood, do you fire her? I know what your boss is saying.
He's just a little pawn. He didn't have any power. He does what he's told, or he's fired.
Okay. Now let's move to Samantha Bee. Well, wait. Before we move off to Roseanne.
Yes.
If she would have said the same thing, except she would have said that Candace Owens looked like she was, crossbreed.
No, she would have been fired either way. Any
Anyway.
African American, no matter what they're liberal or conservative, you cannot.
One more question.
Okay.
If the show was not pro-Trump or perceived as pro-Trump, would she have gotten away with Candace?
No, because you cannot in this country, and this is probably a good thing, take any minority and put them up for disparagement because of their skin color. You just can't. And that's just the rules. So there you go.
I have one more question on this, because I want to ask this of you, of all three of these people. If Bill O'Reilly is Bob Iger, you are making the decision. It is your decision. You're king of the company. What do you do?
I have to do the same thing. Because it's a matter of insulting millions and millions of people, not just African Americans. And you have to say we have standards of behavior, and it doesn't matter whether you're on or off the clock. We just can't as a corporation, because we represent so many people, and we need the goodwill of the American people. We cannot, allow that to happen. And so I would have made the same decision.
We have to kind of forget here that they knew what they were getting into. You as a citizen, how do you feel about, Roseanne losing her job?
I feel sorry for Roseanne Barr, because I think she's a troubled woman. Do I think Roseanne Barr is a racist and hates black people? No, I don't. I don't know her very well. I had her one time on The Factor, and she was a loon. She was trying to grow macadamia nuts someplace, and I said, nuts is a good industry for you. But I feel sorry for Roseanne Barr. I don't believe that she's going out of her way to hurt black people or anybody else. I think she's a person who cannot control herself. So that's my bottom line on her. Valerie Jarrett, I know her fairly well. She was always respectful to us. I don't agree with her political point of view, but she's a public servant. She doesn't deserve any of this. She didn't do anything. I feel terrible for her, that she would be held up to that kind of scorn. And, there are no winners in this situation, none.
Okay. Next one is Samantha Bee. You're familiar with what she did this week?
Yes, of course I am. Beck, do you think I live in Houston?
I am just providing you the opportunity to explain it to the audience. That's all I was doing. I'm a facilitator here, Bill.
You have the preeminent news analyst in the country on your program every Friday.
And that's usually when Bill O'Reilly says things like, yes, of course I do, and let me explain it to the folks. What she did this week was... All right, go ahead.
All right, so Samantha Bee is a hater, unlike Roseanne Barr. Now, I know a lot of people disagree with that. They go, Roseanne Barr is a hater too, but I don't see her that way. Maybe I'm wrong. But Samantha Bee is a hater, all right, that she makes money hating. That's what a program is. We hate conservatives. We hate Republicans. We hate Trump. We hate anybody who disagrees with us, and we're going to demean them and diminish them and try to hurt them. That's what Time Warner has on their roster. That's who she is. So it's just incredible, because she's not a foolish woman, a stupid woman, that she would do something like that 2 days later after Roseanne and use that vile term to describe Ivanka Trump. It's just inconceivable. And as you pointed out, her writers knew it, her producers knew it. You got to know TBS knew it because they tape in advance. All right?
I believe she is not a hater. She is a person that lives in a bubble where everyone is reinforcing everything everybody believes in that circle. You completely lose perspective, and you do not see the hate because you feel you're justified. So you can say it's a hater, but there were a lot of people in the 1930s that were normal people until they just started falling into this group, and all of these things happened, and they were like, yeah, you know what? That's right. But they were molded by the society that they allowed themselves to be in.
That's a generous assessment toward Ms. B.
I know her.
All right. So maybe you have an insight into her that I don't. But she has made her career, as has
yes.
Trevor Noah.
Yes.
And all of these other people.
Yes.
That's what they do. Colbert is the best example. All right.
By the way, I'm not excusing Bill. I'm not excusing.
I know. And you know the woman, so you may be correct.
You're right. I know the woman, and I think she has chosen her own path that led her to that, and that's her fault.
But the vitriol that she brings, all right, is far more than most of the far left kooks who.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you.
So I put her in that category that she likes to inflict pain. But the industry this is what we say because this is who is watching. You may remember when I went on Jon Stewart, and I was on his program quite often, and he was on my program. We had a pretty good relationship and back and forth, and it was very successful. But I would walk in, and I'd look at the audience and I'd go, "Oh, you bust them in from Havana, didn't you, Stewart?" Because they were all the same. They're all communists, waving red flags at you. And that's the audience. That's Colbert's audience, all right? He doesn't have any conservatives or Republicans watching him. So he has to go and do that kind of stuff. But it's the level of vitriol and the level of what I call hatred that look at this guy at ESPN. I mean, look at him, what a hater he is. And they hire him. I mean,
You're talking about Keith Olbermann?
Yeah. I mean, this guy's been a hater for decades.
Yeah.
All right? And so
another ABC Mouse property.
Here's ESPN. Come on and work for us. Okay, look, fine. I mean, I agree with you. We shouldn't be in the business of blackballing people and taking away their livelihoods. But if Disney is going to do that, then Disney has to say, we're okay with hiring haters.
But I have
we're okay with it.
And let me point out, Bill, I do believe this is a result of blackballing. I believe this is a result of first groupthink and in some cases actual blackballing. Don't hire any conservatives. Don't hire any of those people. But it becomes groupthink, and they are so arrogant because they never meet anyone who has a different opinion. And if they do, they all, as a group, gang rape that person until there's nothing left.
Listen, you're right in the sense that they are true believers in whatever political philosophy that the left wing is putting out that day. But I think you don't see the sadistic nature of these people. And
I've been on the receiving end of the sadistic nature of these people.
That overrides the ideology. So you say, okay, they live in a bubble, and they only hear one thing, far left, garbage. But if they did hear you and me and other people, they wouldn't care.
I would agree with some, and I agree with a group, but 1-to-1, you can make a difference, and they do over time. The honest ones will open their minds and open their eyes, and I do believe you have, like, for instance, the professor at Evergreen College, which Bill, is like crazy town. Weinstein has come out and he's like, I'm not a part of this. You're rejecting science. You're rejecting everything, and is coming out and saying, look, we have to have decent conversations where we don't kill each other because we have a difference of opinion.
Listen, there are varying degrees of people. Let me give you a good example. I could go on Jimmy Kimmel and have a conversation with Kimmel that was reasonable, all right? And Kimmel would cede some points, and then other points he wouldn't. But it was reasonable. I could not do that with Colbert.
Yeah.
There's no way I could do it with him. He wasn't not interested in any opinion other than his own.
Correct.
And then if you didn't agree with him, he was going to try to, diminish you. So there's a difference in these people.
Correct.
There's just a difference.
So I think, Bill, the point you make about Samantha Bee is in a way in her favor, right? Like ABC didn't hire Roseanne to make racist tweets. They did hire Samantha Bee to say mean things about the Trump administration.
Sure.
Now,
there's no doubt that that's what she traffics in.
Right.
It's the same thing on the correspondence dinner with this Michelle Wolf.
Yes.
I mean, there's no excuse. They knew who she was. They knew what she was going to do, and she did it.
So, Bill,
and then they said, "Oh, she went over the line." Ah, bull! You're a bunch of phonies. You wanted that to happen. It happened, and it blew your whole thing up, and it's over.
So
you got what you deserve.
So let's get to this. Let's get to the second person in the final question. Bill O'Reilly is at TBS. Do you fire Samantha Bee?
Well, you know, I know this is a cop-out. I wouldn't have hired her in the first place. She's not making much money for Time Warner. I mean, you know, her show's not like a hit. I probably would revamp the whole thing, and she'd be one of the ones that, you know, we're given a ticket to ride. Remember that song, Beck?
Wow. Okay. Bill O'Reilly, back in just a second. More on this. Also, what is with the pardons that are coming now? The dirtiest man in politics pardoned by the president, the former governor that was selling the seat of Barack Obama in the Senate, he's been pardoned. We'll get into that coming up in Trump's pardons that happened this week. There's so much more to talk about with Bill O'Reilly. Also, Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee is going to be with us talking a little bit about the Constitution and a focus on freedom of speech and what it means and how we put this whole thing back together. We're joined now by Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com. Bill, the last person in this media mess this week is Joy Reid, and she's the only one that Stu and I clearly, easily say she should be fired. And it's because she's a journalist, not an entertainer. She's a journalist, and she's lying.
Well, maybe she was converted, though, Beck. Maybe
No, wait. If she would have come out and said, yes, I did believe those things, but Barack Obama used to believe those things, and Hillary Clinton used to believe those things. It was a different time. Okay, then we can have that conversation. What she's doing is she started an FBI investigation. She said that her own forensics showed that her website had been hacked. Her own forensics said, no, that's not what we said. It wasn't hacked. She's lying.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't know her. Nobody really watches her. I don't think there are a lot of standards at MSNBC. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that's the big standards network.
So if you are the head of MSNBC,
I kill myself back.
Okay. All right. I think we got it. Nothing more to be said. Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com. Also his upcoming book, Killing the SS, which I might read. I'm excited about
we're
this.
going to send it to you. We'll send you a galley in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Do I get one too, Bill, or is it just Glenn that gets the galley?
You get the large print, Stu.
Okay, thank you.
I actually can't wait to read this. I don't know why, but I think every guy is fascinated.
There's a lot of new stuff that has never been put out before.
Okay. Well, hopefully you'll check Google before you do it to make sure it's accurate. Or you know,
Reid.
Something else. You check with Joy Reid
right.
and find out that it's accurate. We'll be back. We want to talk about the pardons and other things that have happened politically with Bill O'Reilly.
Your home is your domain. And it is important to have a place that you really love because you're going to be spending a lot of time there. And I don't know if you've noticed how crazy the world is right now. You're going to be wanting to spend a lot more time inside, away from the world as much as possible. And with all this global warming, you really need to have reliable shelter because the whole world's going to be on fire all around you anytime. RealestateAgentsITrust.com is the place to go when you want to buy or sell a home and you want to have great advice on not only to how to price it, but how to market your home, all the paperwork that is incredibly important. I mean, this is a big-time legal process, and we get in the habit of just kind of like signing our names just some random person you met at the gym or at Starbucks. They become your real estate agent, and all of a sudden you're just kind of signing your name on hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you need to have someone who's really reliable. You need to have someone who's gone through a real screening process. realestateagentsitrust.com. It's realestateagentsitrust.com.
Welcome back to the program. We're glad you're here today. I mean, we have so much we are not going to be able to get to today. 3.8% unemployment rate. That is the lowest since 1969. Hello. Great unemployment news today. The media monitoring service we're going to have to get to on Monday, but you also don't, if you miss any of the news today or any day, you don't have to. What we do is if you'll just sign up for the Blaze newsletter, you go to theblaze.com/newsletter. We give you in the morning, we give you a bunch of the stories, the 3 most important stories chosen by real people and not algorithms, and what we think you need to know for the day. And then at the end of the day, we also give you a roundup of everything that has happened and the opinions from everybody at the Blaze on what all of it means. So the newsletter, you can sign up now at theblaze.com/newsletter. Bill O'Reilly, I'm sure you're going to be in the newsletter this afternoon.
Well, I hope so. And I mean, that's a pretty attractive offer, Beck, but you left out one part.
What?
That if you do sign up for the Blaze newsletter, Stu will come to your house and paint the outside of it. One coat, though.
Yes.
Yeah, well, only one
not
coat.
2 coats.
Thank you for bringing that up. Only one coat.
And I will not dispose of the. I'm not cleaning up after myself. But I will paint the house.
Just paint it and split.
Yeah.
So that's a good deal.
You'll have to remove all the old lead paint. But thank you for bringing that up. Bill, let's talk a little bit about the pardons. And let's do them one by one. First of all, Dinesh D'Souza, he was pardoned, 2 days ago or yesterday? Mm-hmm. Somebody who went to prison for something that nobody has been prosecuted for.
It was ridiculous.
It was clearly a political hit, and he was pardoned now by the president. What do you think?
Well, first you have to understand how much Donald Trump loves power.
That's scaring me.
He loves power.
Yes.
And now he has it. And one of the prerogatives of a president, he can pardon anybody they want.
Sure.
So he's going to use that. He understands that D'Souza is an ally, so he'll get a pop there. And as you pointed out rightly, it was a low-level beef and ridiculous. It was a campaign contribution violation.
Right.
So,
it's. I mean, Rosie O'Donnell did far, far worse, and nobody's pursuing her.
Ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous and really makes me very, very concerned about our justice system. So
I agree with that one.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
He's pardoned. Okay.
Now let's go to another one that's a little more controversial: insider trading by Martha Stewart.
Right. Again, I think the woman paid a price that probably was more than most people would have paid. I don't have any problem pardoning her. But what people don't know is that Trump gets pies sent to him for his entire life. So I don't know.
So would you have pardoned your President O'Reilly?
I would have.
You would have
pardoned him. Yes, just because I think the woman has suffered enough, and she did it, and she lied about it. She paid a huge price. And so let's give her a break. And I like the pies, so the pies would have been good.
The next one is Governor Blagojevich, who is one of the worst guys in political history, and that's saying something in Chicago and Illinois. Yeah. He's a guy who was caught selling the Senate seat of Barack Obama.
Right. And, he was selling it on the street. That's what was embarrassing. I mean, you just can't do that. I don't think I would have pardoned former Governor Blagojevich. I do not.
I mean, that's really a bad one. Why is he doing this?
Was it because he was they're both on Celebrity Apprentice? The accusation.
He knows him, and I think his wife, Blagojevich's wife, made a really emotional appeal. I think the guy's a broken guy, but I'd have to see that. You'd have to make that public. If the guy's health is broken down and he's on his last legs or something, and maybe that's humanitarian. But on just crime and punishment, he doesn't deserve to get out of prison right now. He just doesn't, because you just can't have at that high level that kind of stuff going on. You got to send a message.
And isn't this a bad message to send for the next president as well?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but it's not a good message for the folks. It's almost like this Kim Kardashian thing, which I thought was a fascinating story. She comes in, and, you know, the only reason she's standing there next to Trump in the Oval Office, and if you look at the picture, it's so weird. He's sitting down. She's standing next to him like a Roman centurion in this kind of demure outfit. And, you know, her cause to try to get people out of prison who have been there for 20 years and major drug dealers, because this woman that she's espoused, this Alice Johnson, she was a major force of moving crack in Memphis, Tennessee. I mean, this woman was moving thousands of kilos of cocaine. So this wasn't some innocent, nonviolent offender, as Barack Obama tries to point out. Oh, they're nonviolent. They're not. Crack destroys people. So, you know, Trump, again, he used it as a photo op. He saw it as something that was going to benefit him. Does he know Alice Johnson? No. But he likes to use his power in these instances. But I think you're right. You take it case by case. I said on BillO'Reilly.com, I'd let Miss Johnson out probably. She got life. 62 years old now. After 25 years, she served 21. I think 25 is a fair sentence.
So here's the problem, Bill. I don't want to get into a situation to where we have the president look at it case by case on who can get into his office. There's a lot of people who feel that they have been...
But they always do that. Every president has done that.
I know that, but they'd usually save him for the end of the administration. I just don't... It bothers me that... You know, we can it can be perceived now as, you know, if you're a friend, come on by, have your wife or your husband come on by. I don't like that precedent. I mean, I might agree or disagree with, you know, the individuals. I just don't like the idea that over an 8-year period, once at the end of your term, okay, I don't like it, but okay. But all the way through your term, I think that sends a class message that if you're Blagojevich and you know the president, or the wife can get in to see the president, you get a special favor. But somebody else who has done less and done less harm, they don't have any connections and they get out. That's not good.
Well, I mean, you're going all the way back to Andrew Jackson and Martin Van Buren and the Patronage Boys. I mean, this has been going on since the country was founded. Connections are connections. I don't like them either. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but that's the way America works, on connections. And that's why some people get prosperous when they shouldn't, and other people are treated unfairly when they have a lot of talent. I mean, it's just the way we are. But if you know what Trump is like, and that he just loves the power that he has, he's going to do these things because it gets him in the news. He loves that. It mobilizes his base in some regard, although can't see the Blagojevich thing helping him at all politically. But he's just, you know, he's an unconventional guy. He's going to use his power. You know, it's almost like a hobby for him. It's fun. It's fun to have Kim Kardashian in there. And so he's bored with the tariffs, and let's get Kim in here. I mean, that's what it's all about. On some levels, Trump is the most human president that we've had in decades. I mean, Barack Obama was a machine. Mm-hmm. And George W. Bush was from the Bush dynasty and raised in a way they would never do any of this. He doesn't even know who Kim Kardashian is. But Kennedy was very human too, JFK, even though he was raised in a crazy family. But Trump he just has all of these things that he wants to have some fun.
This is amazing analysis.
Kim Kardashian standing there, and he's sitting at the desk saying, "Hey, you know, I'm the big boy," and it's fun for him, and that's why he does it.
That's really interesting. Well, can we go back real quick to the economy, Bill? We updated everybody on the unemployment rate, but we didn't get your comments on it. I mean, this is the lowest rate, 3.8%. It ties only 1 month in the year 2000, April 2000, as the lowest month in a half a century. The U1 unemployment rate, which is the unemployment for 15 weeks or longer, people who really are struggling. It's not just they lost a job and got a new one in a few weeks. Really struggling. That is down to 1.3% right now.
Right.
It really is incredible.
First of all, it's good news for Roseanne. All right. So she's not going to be out of work too long.
I felt really bad for one of the writers it was his first day. He was like, congratulations to me. I just got a new job. A first day of, crap.
Right. When I left Fox, I felt so badly for my staff because they had been with me so long.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't leave. They all got jobs, and some of them came with me to BillO'Reilly.com. But I just felt so terrible because, people have lives and they have kids and everything else.
Yeah,
and they're disrupted by this insanity.
I know.
But, this is everything for Donald Trump.
Yep.
Everything. And it'll be interesting tonight. I won't watch, but I'm sure somebody on the Blaze will, and I'll read you guys, on Monday when you give me the daily briefing, how the liberal hate Trump networks are going to spin this. Because this is devastating for the Democratic Party, which wants to take back the House and the Senate in November.
Yeah.
And you're running this kind of an economy, all right? The stock market is of concern. You should watch that because that's just, it's all emotion. You want to take emotion out of that thing. But anyway, the folks, as crazy as some of the things Trump does are, if the economy is this way in October, the Republicans are going to win.
Well, I've already seen the first bout of spin. It started last night. I think everybody knew when Donald Trump said, hey, I hear those numbers might be exciting to watch.
Those numbers.
Yeah, let's look for those numbers. Okay, man, we know you get them a day before.
And he had a paper hat on. Did you notice that?
So, they already started spinning, and one of them I saw that, they were like, well, this is the Obama economy.
Oh, yeah, but nobody's buying that. Not even the people in San Francisco are going to buy that. Okay? They're going to go, no! You can lie all day long, but this is just too crazy.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, so you have, what, and the other thing that's going to drop next week is this Inspector General's report from the Justice Department. And this is going to go Trump's way. And that, with the economy, that 1-2 punch, I mean, you're going to see, I think CNN is going to preempt itself and maybe run some European soccer in prime time because these people, they're going to get so hammered. And, on the other side, the Fox people who like Trump, I mean, they're going to be running around. It's going to be New Year's Eve there.
Yeah.
So there's going to be in the next week or so, a tremendous surge of good news for Trump, which means, Stu, that he'll do something incredibly stupid to just negate it all. All right?
Bill O'Reilly.
That's absolutely going to happen. BillO'Reilly.com, everyone.
Thank you very much. BillO'Reilly.com and the new book, Killing the SS, available September 18th, which is going to be a great read. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Okay, welcome to the program. Glad you are here.
Can I expand on one issue on the Dinesh D'Souza pardon?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I fully agree with the Dinesh D'Souza pardon. Mm-hmm. And you may say, he's been on the show before. He's somewhat of a friend of the show, right? He's been here. We've worked with him for many years on several projects. But that is not at all the reason why I am for the Dinesh D'Souza pardon. The law he broke is blatantly unconstitutional. And by the way, Dinesh admits he broke the law.
This is a really good one to bring up to Mike Lee.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear his
Mike's
point
going
on
to be
this.
on with us in about 10 minutes.
Because it's not right. It's not right that you should go to jail because you spent too much money using your free speech and your own currency that you
Mm-hmm. That's a different argument than what everybody's making, but the more powerful argument.
And the way you make this argument real is by Donald Trump pardoning anyone who has committed a similar crime. I believe all of those people should be pardoned. It is blatantly unconstitutional. You know, we did a chalkboard series a couple weeks ago about presidential overreach. And one of the things we talked about was the veto power was initially designed for the president not to veto things that he didn't like, but veto things that he believed were unconstitutional laws Congress passed.
He really, there was never a precedent for I don't like this.
Yeah.
It was I don't believe this is constitutional.
Right.
And I'm the last stop to protect it.
And following that logic, I think this is a good use for the pardon power of the president. If there's a law you believe is unconstitutional and people are sitting in jail for it or paying punishments for it, it's a good use of the pardon. However, you can't just use it for the guy who tweets favorably about you all the time. You should also use it for people on the left.
There are people that make the case that our borders are unconstitutional. So could a president have the right to say, I think this is unconstitutional. I'm going to free all of these people?
Absolutely. Yes. That is what the pardon power is. It is. I'm a pretty much an absolutist on this. I think you can do it for pretty much any reason.
So
I think this is a good use of it.
I happen to agree with you, but that is why I'm like, I want to see it used once on the last day of you. I don't like the idea that the president can just drop in over an 8-year period. You know, you have to have. I'm gonna give